Well, hello again, everybody, and welcome to The Mortgage Show on CKNW. I'm Manny Bazunas, along with accredited mortgage professional and best-selling author of The Mortgage Code, Angela Calla. Angela Calla, CALLA.ca. Got a number for you to start the show off with. $3,927. $3,927 each and every month. This has been one of the best weeks you've had, Angela, keeping that figure in mind.
It really is. And I can tell you, somebody listening to us right now knows somebody struggling like Monica. Someone like Monica who is living in their home, who's had a rough couple of years. Circumstances have happened. They help anybody who asks. And, you know, incomes don't go up like they used to, but they're too scared to ask for help. And we had Monica from Surrey, a single woman in her 50s, and she was maxed out on every credit card and loan, caring for her dog, out of options. When she called us, she thought she'd have to sell her home and live in her car. We restructured her mortgage without her having to sell her home and without her having to find another job. And she kept her home and she got her life back. So someone in your circle is struggling, and they're struggling quietly, and they're scared to call. They don't know what options are out there. They don't want people to know their personal business. But that one call changed everything for Monica, and it could for someone that you know too.
Well, there were actually a couple of calls, Angela, because she first spoke to a relative who listens to the radio program and said, look, give Angela a buzz. See what she can do for you. I mean, if you're so stressed out, and she was, all these outside payments, she was basically drowning in debt. And for a single woman in her 50s, as you mentioned, Angela, you know, prices aren't getting any cheaper and incomes are not going up that quickly to keep up. So she was drowning in debt until she called you and you restructured everything into a new mortgage, saving Monica $3,927 every month. That is life-changing.
It is completely life-changing. You know, when she called us, she was crying, and I met her when she came into the office because I just needed to give this woman a hug myself. And I was there, thankfully. And she said to me, you know, you helped my sister, Sarah, and her husband, David. You know, they're a family with two incomes and still having the same struggles, of course. And we helped them last year save $1,264 a month. And she said, I never listened to my sister. I never listened to my sister at all, but this time I did. And with one call, I changed my life.
That is awesome. It's been a really good week over at the Angela Calla Mortgage Team office. You've been on global news on this show and others, talking about some great incentives for first-time buyers. And just this past week, you caught up with a Port Coquitlam family, Jeff and Brianna, who bought their first home with the right mortgage plan. I want to play your chat with Jeff and Brianna because it brings home, I think, Angela, the point we make on this show all the time: prepare for the future and have a plan.
Thank you so much, Jeff, for joining us today. So grateful to have you join. Would you mind sharing with us a little bit about how you first got in touch with the Angela Calla Mortgage Team?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. Let's start with how I heard about you. Obviously, I've grown up, listened to the radio and whatnot, right? My mom and dad always listened to CKNW, right? Mm-hmm. And as I was growing up, getting closer to being an adult, I always heard your name on the radio, right? A few years down the road, I got in touch with a financial advisor. His name is Christian Laskiewicz.
Yeah.
I hope that's how I say his last name.
Yeah.
We told him our goal, what we kind of wanted to do. Our goal was, at the end of the day, obviously get into our own little space, have our own space to ourselves. And when he was bringing up how we're going to get pre-approved and whatnot, he brought up your name. I was like, hey, that name sounds familiar, right? I'm like, okay, well, perfect. We're going to use her. Let's put our money aside, set our goals, put our money away. And then once we're in kind of a comfortable place, we'll get in contact with you. So took about 3 years to get into a comfortable spot, and I decided to reach out.
Excellent. And What was it like? You reached out to us, and did it meet your expectations in terms of communication and everything that you had kind of heard before?
Honestly, it over exceeded what I expected. I actually downloaded the app first.
Oh,
You
great.
know, being a millennial, obviously, I gravitate towards the apps, right? So
Yeah.
I downloaded the app. I tried to get pre-approved before I got too deep into anything. And I think it was the next day, I think it was John reached out to me,
Yep.
got a response, and honestly, it was an absolute breeze. I let him know, I'm like, hey, I really don't know what I'm doing here. I just want to see if this is makes sense for my wife and I, my young family and I, to go forward. And he made us feel so comfortable.
Aw,
Yeah.
I've worked alongside Dave, John, and Julie here for a decade, and so we're a big family, and we all work together. And when it came to looking at your options, it was a seamless experience.
Seamless experience, absolutely. Lots of questions, obviously, from our side, but it was so straightforward. They listened to all of our questions, whether we thought they were silly or not. They made us feel comfortable and saying, "Hey, you know what? Everybody asks these questions. If you feel uncomfortable at any point, reach out to us whenever you want. Whether it's a weekend, didn't matter the time of day. They always promptly respond and made us feel at home. Really."
Aw, that's so sweet. So what advice would you have to other people who are considering looking at buying their first home, considering understanding the mortgage options?
Just from my experience, like just download the app and play around with some of the things in there, right?
Yeah,
You
our
can
free
play
app,
around.
it takes 45 seconds to get pre-qualified and see what
That's it,
options we
right?
have.
You can use the mortgage calculator. They have the required income, kind of gives you whereabouts what you can afford, kind of sort of thing. I'd say just do it. Just download the app, or even just reach out, send a quick email, say, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Maybe down the road, what would your advice be?
That's awesome. Well, it's so fantastic to have you in the neighborhood.
Yes.
And a big congratulations to you and Brianna. It's an absolute pleasure working together with you. And we're here for you as long as you have a mortgage. So it's such a pleasure to help you.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Angela.
Yeah, big hello from the entire team.
Thank you. Hi, guys.
They're all jealous that they don't get to be on the call today. So
I'm sure they could squeeze in there somewhere. And
yeah. Excellent, excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And again, absolute pleasure.
not a problem. Thanks, Angela.
Thanks.
Oh, that's just awesome, Angela. For 3 years, saving money, putting that money in the bank and saving, but all the while keeping in touch.
Well, seeing a plan come together is just so exciting for us, Manny. We've been doing this for over 20 years, and we can't wait to see the amount of people we get to help in the next 20. And when we met Jeff and Brianna, it was just perfect. Everything that we set forward in the plan came together. They worked with the best financial planner, my personal financial planner, and they were able to make a plan, and within 3 years, buy their first home. And just watching this family go through the motions from 3 years ago and seeing the successful completion today is such a joy, and that what really inspires us to continue each and every day to find every single way to help people. So whether you're a few years out and you need some help, we can introduce you to a financial advisor that we work with, and ones we work with ourselves, to be able to set up a plan and make sure that you get your down payment working for you as fast as possible in the most tax effective manner. And then when it's your time to make your purchase, we'll be right there every single step of the way, helping you with the mortgage and beyond, as your life changes, as the economy changes, and as your needs change and your family grows.
Well, I think one of the main points that Jeff raised in the chat that you had with him was just how easy the process is. Mind you, they've been, pretty heavily involved in terms of the decision making, because they had decided 3 years ago that they were going to have a plan, and they stuck to it. And now they are walking into their first dream home. This is just a great story of how a young couple who wants to buy their first home here in the Lower Mainland stuck with the plan as outlined by the Angela Calla mortgage team. There is no fee for Angela's service. AngelaCalla.ca, Angela Calla, CALLA. .ca. You are listening to The Mortgage Show on CKNW. I'm Manny Bazunas, along with accredited mortgage professional Angela Calla. Back in a moment. Welcome back to the Mortgage Show on CKNW. Manny Bazunas, along with accredited mortgage professional and best-selling author Angela Calla. Angela Calla, CALLA.ca. Time now for our resident real estate expert from Royal LePage West Real Estate, Robert, otherwise known as Rob Boys. And Robert, you have what appears to be a spectacular acreage and home in Maple Ridge. I mean, this is gorgeous. For sale.
Yeah, this is a really unique property, and if you're somebody wants more of a rural lifestyle, potentially, and if your kids are listening, you might want to turn the radio off for a second. Potentially wants some horses. This is not quite horse country, but there is a horse barn included in this, and there are a lot of horse families in the area. This is 5.11 acres, an incredible country estate. I'm telling you, this log home is beautiful. It's 3 levels. It's quite large. It has an incredible indoor-outdoor living space, like massive, with an in-ground lap pool. So it's one of those smaller pools with the high force jets on it, so you swim into the jets, right? So it kind of holds you in place, but it creates that force. There is a unattached guest home which can be used for in-laws, but is Airbnb compliant and currently has revenue from Airbnb. So that is a detached or slightly attached through a breezeway, but let's call it detached. There is a tennis court, fully lit, basketball court as well included in that tennis court. Once again, fully lit so you can play at all times. Almost a fully treed site, of course, outside of the building envelope areas. What's key about this area is it's currently permitted within the zoning where you can have 2 extra dwellings on the property, and this one has a grandfathered driveway. We've just produced some drone footage for all of this, and we've highlighted where there's a gate there currently. The seller is going to be putting down a gravel roadway down to the barn area. You can access the barn now without this driveway, but for future use. So an incredible country estate, 5.11 acres out in the rural part of Maple Ridge. I'm going to give you the address, 26651 Cunningham. It's in the Thornhill area of Maple Ridge. Spectacular unit. I love this indoor-outdoor space, Manny. It's phenomenal. Not only is there the lap pool, but there's a lounge, outdoor furniture area. What's completely covered other than it's slightly opened on the sides. My cellar has a great big 110-inch TV up there. It walks off of the kitchen. If you got elderly in-laws, you got young adults, and you want to get separated from them, this phenomenal detached through a breezeway 3-bedroom guest home is phenomenal. It is on septic and it is on well water, so you're going to need Angela and her team on the financing side for that, because not everybody finances on that, and it's just that they don't really understand from the lending side, specifically the water. So there's no fire coverage, no hydrants in the area, but those are things that can easily be overcome. It's priced at $2.899 million, so just under $2.9 million. 5.11 acres with future development. You get another duplex in there without any problems. 26651 Cunningham Avenue, Thornhill of Maple Ridge.
One of the interesting aspects about this 5.11 acre property, Robert, that you don't see often in bigger acreages, the fact that it's flat.
Very key, Manny. Boy, you're observant. And, interestingly, one of the neighbors' properties is for sale almost across the street, and they are on the high side or slightly hillside. So, some challenges when it's not flat, and of course this 26651 Cunningham doesn't have the issues because it's flat. But in the winter, it can be a challenge when you're on a hillier, especially large acreage like this. There can be challenges with, icy driveway, keeping that maintained. We don't have any of that issue. A full security black gate, a no see-through gate as well, with secure access to get into this property, which, you really like. My seller has not young kids, but young adults who are sometimes home by themselves, and they like that added security. There's a gym in this home, Manny. There is really a very cool kitchen. Once again, I've only got a few select pictures up there right now, but the drone footage is being loaded for anybody who wants to see this. But flat property and kind of more of a pie shape where the frontage is the largest part of that property. So almost pie shape, not exactly. Largest square footage is across the front. And the key to this is that grandfathered driveway that already has a gate. And once again, my seller is putting down some gravel, so we're going to have a compacted driveway out to the barn. The barn's going to need a little bit of work if you do got horses. It's not currently used for anything, slightly overgrown greenery and whatnot, but it's in pretty good shape.
Robert Boys from Royal LePage West Real Estate. robboys.com is how you reach out to Robert and check out this listing. robboys.com, ROBBOIES.com. Can we talk for a couple of minutes, Robert, about the market in general? We are getting a little deeper into the summer months now, and it appears things are percolating, not going through the roof in terms of sales, but certainly percolating.
Yeah, look at Manny. I'm representing first-time home buyers, so you can see I got a whole spectrum within my portfolio, including the Okanagan, Southern Okanagan, if anybody wants to talk about that as well. But there was a number of economists over the last couple of weeks, real estate economists, who were predicting a later spring market. And, there had been a lot of uncertainty with tariffs and honestly just a little bit of craziness out of the U.S. A new government has come in. Some say it's not a new government, but it's a new leader, a new prime minister. And it made people hesitate. I mean, right now I have 2 accepted offers with conditions. First-time home buyers, which is amazing. It's amazing. It's a different process, although the process is the same. But anytime you're dealing with a first-time home buyer, specifically in this market, so we're definitely seeing some activity. And one of the offers that we have in Port Coquitlam, priced under $400,000, Manny, I was advised the other day that there's now a backup offer. Now, once again, we're on the buying side, so there's a backup offer. So we're definitely seeing some activity in the marketplace. I have listings in Yaletown. We've covered that before. 401 928 Homer Street. I got an excellent listing in Port Moody, right by Brewers Row. And we're not seeing activity across the board, but we're definitely seeing some activity within the Metro Vancouver market. Metro Vancouver, let's be honest, the entire marketplace has seen some upheaval before in 08, 09 during the global economic crisis. The Metro Vancouver market is very resilient. It's a global destination. It's a safe, secure. It checks all the boxes. There's going to be stability in this market. As a micro, you got to check your neighborhoods and work with an experienced realtor.
I'm going to be interested when the World Cup is here to see if we get that bump like we saw with Expo, with the 2010 Olympics. Do you expect any kind of a bump out of the World Soccer matches that are going to be here?
Wow, we could do an entire show on that, Manny. It's not quite the question you asked me, but it's kind of an eye-raising budget to host the global football tournament, soccer tournament. For sure, there's because of all the media, social media, that, specifically Metro Vancouver, who, we show like a perfect picture when they see the images of the mountains and the ocean and our beautiful city. We're a global destination. People already know about us, but there'll definitely be a bump, specifically up against what's going on in the U.S. right now. I predict our immigration requests to move into our country, which has always been high, is going to just accelerate because people are not interested in moving to the U.S. So there's going to be definitely some more awareness as to the jewel of a city and an area that we are. So there'll be some, but I don't think quite like, say, Expo 86. And you and I are still old enough to remember what that was like. That was kind of our coming out party. You know, the Olympics, which is a winter, or specifically we had the Winter Olympics. I think there was a little bump there, and there'll be a little bump, but we're already on the radar. People are wanting to come here.
Rob Boys from Royal LePage West Real Estate, robboys.com, ROBBOIES.com. You are listening to The Mortgage Show on CKNW. Manny Bazunas, along with accredited mortgage professional, best-selling author of The Mortgage Code, available on Amazon, Angela Calla. Back in a moment. Welcome back to The Mortgage Show on CKNW. Manny Bazunas, along with accredited mortgage professional and best-selling author Angela Calla. Angela Calla, CALLA.ca. We have been blathering on the last few weeks, Angela, with much-needed information for first-time buyers and the incentives that are out there for first-time buyers. Quickly rehash before we bring on a first-time buyer to talk about the process.
Super simple. First of all, I have a free app where you can get pre-qualified in 45 seconds. It can be downloaded at angelacalla.ca, and the app is fantastic.
First-time buyers, do not be afraid. Let Angela do the work for you. There's no fee for her service. If you are a first-timer looking to get into this market or any market, get a hold of Angela. She'll walk you through it. You'll be apprised of these incentives that have recently hit, and they're fantastic for you. They're really going to get you motivated to say, well, is it affordable? Is it not affordable? Well, with some of these incentives, it may actually help you make that decision. And with Angela's help, you'll find that first home here in the Lower Mainland, just like David and Melanie. They are expats from Ontario.
Sure, Manny. Thanks. So I think one of the stages, stress. It was a very stressful time for us. We came from Ontario. Housing in Ontario is considerably less than it is in Vancouver. So when we got here, we had different expectations. We didn't realize what it would take to buy a house. We wanted to stay close to my office. I'm not a very good commuter. So we ultimately became set on the North Shore, and it made it more difficult simply because of the lack of product in our price range.
Well, I know you and Melanie looked at a number of homes and for a variety of reasons could not find the one that matched your price point and lifestyle, but after several weeks of looking, you found exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, actually, it took about 7 months of serious looking. We felt that many other families are looking for exactly what we wanted. This created a lot of anxiety for us because we were not sure we could find the right house at the right price point. Eventually, we decided to look for a house with a rental suite, and that gave us a higher price point, and that made all the difference for us.
Well, thanks to the Angela Calla mortgage team, you were able to get the required financing, and that took a tremendous amount of stress off you and your family as well.
Yeah, it did. So originally, we were with a different brokerage. And unfortunately, that brokerage didn't provide the guidance for us for the Vancouver real estate market. We didn't understand how to finance a house in Vancouver with the different options available, such as having a renter. And coming to this market created a lot of stress and not having a realistic idea of what we could afford. When we met with Chris at the Angela Calla team, he took the time to address our comfort levels and figure out what we could decide on a reasonable mortgage amount that would allow us to find a house that we could afford to buy.
Well, go into a little more detail about the process dealing with the Angela Calla mortgage team.
Yeah, so they took the time to look at our finances, income, and then they're able to provide a more realistic guidance for purchasing a house. We discussed the difference between fixed variable rates because I was really unsure as to which way to go on that. And this was an important decision that I think everyone needs to understand because that's actually one of the greatest challenges that you're going to have when you decide to go after a mortgage. Chris provided us with all the details, and it was an easy process with all of our questions being answered. And in the end, it gave us tremendous confidence that we made the right decision with the Angela Calla team.
Melanie, a huge move to come out here And as David mentioned, any move is fraught with stress and anxiety, but you took your time, you dealt with professionals, and now all is fabulous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, everything's great now. As anyone who's ever moved a household knows, it can get overwhelming at times. And in addition to all the typical things that you usually have to attend to, I also wanted to figure out where we would like our daughter to start school. And there were times when I wondered if we would be able to work something out here to find a home, or if we just end up having to move back to Ontario because we simply couldn't afford what we were looking for. And fortunately, in working with Chris, we were able to figure out a way to make that happen.
Well, I know you're getting settled into your new home. Your daughter's meeting new friends, as are you and David. We're so excited for you. Tell us a little bit about your new home. What's it like?
Oh, I love it here. It took us a lot longer than we anticipated to find it, but it was definitely worth the wait. We love the area. The neighborhood has lots of young families. There's a park right across the street where we take our daughter to play all the time. And we actually have a backyard. I finally have a garden, or at least a space for one. And now I just need to learn how to grow things.
Well, I know both you and David now have a mortgage plan, thanks to the Calla mortgage team, who will keep a close eye on that plan moving forward. That in of itself is just so positive for you.
Definitely. It's nice to know that somebody's looking after our mortgage. This is the biggest investment we've ever made. And owning a house certainly comes with a lot of responsibilities. So it eases my mind to know that I don't have to keep constant watch on what's going on with interest rates when I'd rather be having fun with my family.
David, what advice would you give people who are listening to the Mortgage Show this evening on CKNW, especially when it comes to leaving the complicated mortgage process to the professionals at the Calla mortgage team?
Well, you need to trust the advice that your mortgage team's providing. If you do not, if you're unsure, find another mortgage broker. Buying a house in the most expensive market in Canada is stressful. Having a trusted advisor that guides you through the process, answering the questions you really are unsure of, that's the value of the Calla team. Really
pleased for both you and Melanie and your young daughter, and look forward to hearing such good things moving forward.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it.
That is so cool. I know David told me off air, Angela, that when he and his young family moved from Ontario to the Lower Mainland, they were not homeless, but they were without their own home here. And the pressure to find a home for his family, he was beside himself. He was just growing and growing and growing. Like, I've moved my entire family out here for my career, and we don't have a home. And that's when the whole process started. And with your help, he found a home on the North Shore.
Yeah. And, the journey can change based on so many things along the way. And the lender that we have you pre-approved with might not be the lender that we ultimately get the mortgage through, because the benefit of working with us is that we're unbiased and we look at the options that help you achieve your financial goal, not only when you initially get the mortgage, but throughout the life of you having a mortgage. And that's always going to be unique to your circumstances and the property that you select. And having the 20 years of experience, the unbiased advice, the power of choice, the ongoing proactive mortgage management are the keys to your financial success and home security throughout the years.
Well, David is no neophyte when it comes to real estate. He, on behalf of an employer, manages some real estate properties, I know, in Alberta. But he decided he was going to move his overall career out here to the Lower Mainland. So it's not like he was new to real estate. He knew all about real estate, but still, with his wife and his young family, to come all the way from Ontario to this new land, there was no permanency until he was able to find his own home.
Yeah, Manny, the level of education, the level of experience that you may have no merit based on your personal homeowner's journey. The process is always changing. Qualifications change. Things change as your family decides what area and what best suits their needs. And so that's exactly why you go to an expert to align your goals with your financial plan to be able to buy the best home that suits your family's needs and guide you through all the ins and outs that will come up with that particular circumstance. So we help lawyers, we help medical professionals, we help professors. It really doesn't matter the level of education that they have. It's going through the journey and starting from day one. And I find that people really appreciate that. They say, hey, I'm an expert in X, but here's where I rely on you. And we are able to help them quite efficiently and easily to help them get their goal.
Yeah, a little experience can be dangerous. Oh, I know this because I did that. No, it is with years of experience, over 20 years for the Angela Calla mortgage team at the top of their game each and every year, given awards and sought out as a spokesperson for the mortgage industry, speaking to the real estate industry, to the finance industry. I mean, this is a lady who knows the biz. So, yeah, we all think of ourselves as, sort of mini experts because we quote unquote follow the market. No, that's not an expert. An expert is someone who is in the trenches 24/7. Again, no fee for Angela's service. And by the way, really pleased for David and Melanie. They are well settled now into their new home on the North Shore. AngelaCalla.ca, AngelaCalla.ca. You are listening to The Mortgage Show on CKNW. I'm Manny Bazunas, back in a moment. Welcome back to The Mortgage Show on CKNW. Manny Bazunas, along with accredited mortgage professional and best-selling author of The Mortgage Code, available on Amazon. All proceeds to charitable causes in the community. Angela Calla, AngelaCalla.ca. So pleased you could be with us. We are heard at this hour every weekend on CKNW. We often talk about a last-minute rate drop check, and we're going to define that for you. But I can tell you, with a client of Angela's who she recently spoke with, because of this last minute rate drop check, Gurinder was able to save $1,745 a month. I want to play your chat, Angela, with Gurinder, and then come back and let's talk about that process.
How did you first hear about the Angela Calla mortgage team?
Yeah, so I heard about Angela Calla team. I listen to CKNW in the mornings. So I've heard a lot about you guys, a lot of good things, a lot of good testimonials about you guys. So yeah, I said, hey, why not give you guys a try?
And what specifically at that time was going on in your life that inspired you to reach out to us?
We were looking for another property to purchase for residents nearby. So we wanted to move on it quickly, and find a good broker. We've had some experience with other brokers that we didn't want to go through again. So we wanted more of a professional team with really good customer service that would really look after us and get us the best rate possible because the rates were really good right now.
Well, that means the world to us, because my next question was going to be, how was your experience? Would you mind sharing how the experience with us was different than some of your previous dealings?
Yeah, the experience, I would say overall, it was more professional, and very thorough in terms of the rate pack, learning about us, getting the information, and then really walking us through the benefits of a mortgage with a good financial institution. And it was kind of eye-opening as well, compared to the banks versus some of these other, mortgage financial institutions that, how some of the penalties and stuff like that in terms of early payments and whatnot. So there was a lot I learned. And really, at the end of the day, it was kind of peace of mind. We were a little bit worried that we were going to get the lowest rate possible. But John and Dave were tremendous, just in terms of getting us the best rate possible, down to almost the last week. They were able to even get us another rate up, really good rate, competitive rate. And yeah, so we were really happy of the overall end-to-end experience. And it really, I think the biggest thing was the peace of mind.
Excellent. And yeah, with everything you've learned about the differences, I think that throughout this journey, you learn that mortgages are so much more than an interest rate. It's the whole package in terms of what the total cost of borrowing is for you and your family, and the flexibility and the wealth that it helps you build as a result of you understanding what the marketing is that's being sold to you compared to what the personal benefit is for you and your family. Now, I know that last, what we do, which you described beautifully for our listeners, is how we work for you and not the lender. So we're continually looking and advocating for you to get you the best rate that's out there. That's one of the contributing factors. And the last rate drop that we got you just before you signed the paperwork with the lawyers, would you mind sharing with our listeners how much that was? I'm not sure if you have that number handy.
Don't have the number exactly, but I was in excess of 1,700. We would save on our mortgage.
Exactly. And for us, you know, you've seen with the comprehensive package that we put together for you in terms of how compound interest works and how making modifications to your mortgage will help you throughout the duration of the term. So for us to be able to take that much money and say, this is now in your pocket to empower you, you can take that money outside your mortgage and get it working for you in most effective ways for you and your family. So not only are we encompassing the mortgage, but we know that looking at things outside the mortgage are going to help you and your family moving forward. And Gurinder, is this the first time that you've worked with the Angela Calla mortgage team, or had you worked with our team specifically in the past as well?
No, this was absolutely the first time. Yeah.
Excellent. And so that service that you received when you were getting a mortgage, you'll see already that we continue to provide that. That's just the starting point. But that professionalism continues to maintain because we consider you a part of our mortgage family now. And while there might not be something in the market that will suggest a change for you in upcoming years, we also need to know about your lifestyle and life stage and personal goals so we can make sure that you do have the best options and be proactive in respect to the market. So, you know, you getting a little signal of that during the process of getting a mortgage and how we adapted strategy and modified, you know, the approval based on what was happening in the market. We're excited to help you continue with your journey and save you money. So if you have one thing that you could share with the people that are listening to the show, the advice that you would give them based on your experience, feel free to go into as much or as little detail as you like on that.
Yeah, just one thing you mentioned before I get into that was you mentioned, you're saving up some money and you could use that in your, outside of, making mortgage payments. We did actually through the Angela Calla kind of network post-mortgage, we did connect with Christian, one of your liaisons, I guess, or partners in terms of investments. So we actually moved over some of our investments and we did some retirement planning and stuff as well through a connection with you guys. So, and that's been great. Christian has been great. So that was an added bonus, which again, and there was also some insurance that, we got a hold of Joanna. I can't remember the name of the company now, but that was, she was
partners in home insurance as well.
She was fantastic. So to sum it up, I mean, the biggest thing for me was just the peace of mind and the trust, working with Angela Calla, your team. And, the biggest thing, again, we got the best rate possible and we got that done, without, a lot of going back and forth and, we were able to provide all our information in one go. John was tremendous in terms of breaking it down and walking us through it and really reassuring us that, you guys will get the best rate possible. So I highly recommend you guys. I'm a big believer in customer service and integrity throughout the whole process, and you guys delivered for me big time, so I really appreciate it.
Well, we're so here. You can always count on Calla team. We're here for you every step of the way. We're grateful to have you as a part of our mortgage family, and we look forward to watching you continue to build and protect your wealth for the decades to come.
Yeah, no, I will definitely. We're looking at other properties down the road, so we'll definitely be contacting you guys again.
Excellent. Well, all the very best to your family. And thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Yes, you as well.
Okay, Angela, let's define a last-minute rate drop check.
Oh, super simple. The benefit of using a mortgage broker is that we are unbiased. And we are looking at the market daily, hourly, by the moment. And so if there's any better rates that are available that are applicable to your specific financial scenario, then we automatically request that for you. So you get a lower rate. And obviously any savings go towards helping you achieve financial freedom sooner.
And for Gurinder, I mean, look, well, for anybody, but for Gurinder, that $1,745 net every month. I mean, that's huge. I mean, you don't have to work any overtime. You don't have to, sell old toys. You don't have to have garage sales. You can just take in that money and do with as you please for little or no extra effort other than to say thank you to the Angela Calla mortgage team for saving that amount of money. I mean, that's huge, Angela.
It is huge and it's so exciting. And depending on so many factors will depend how many times it happens. But we always do one final look back just before closing. And then for the members of our Angela Calla mortgage team family, we're pulling reports every month on our end, comparing your rate with the rates that are available and annually checking in to ensure that your lifestyle or life circumstances haven't changed in conjunction with the market to make sure that you always are in the best position possible for you.
Want to thank Gurinder for joining us on the Mortgage Show this edition. Angela, you recently helped Amanda and Bill from Poco save $1,354 a month. They're looking at putting those savings into their plan to move up the property ladder in a home better suited for their growing family. $1,354 a month. Congratulations to Amanda and Bill. That's a nice savings, Angela, every month, and you're putting it straight into the bank and you're looking to move up that property ladder because the kids are growing.
Well, Manny, actually, the biggest thing that's holding Canadians back from being able to move up the property ladder is their debt outside of the mortgage. And that's why our clients are wealthier, because we're keeping proactively on top of it to make sure that we're addressing it as soon as possible, or being proactive to make sure that that doesn't happen. Because now saving the $1,200 a month, like this family is, that helps them qualify for just over $200,000 more in mortgage now. So it really impacts their financial future when we're proactive and when we do take the debt that's not being paid effectively and put it into a different plan that is going to help you do as you desire and move up the property ladder, buy an investment property, save for retirement. The opportunities are endless to design once you always ensure that you have your mortgage and outside debts working in the best financial format for you.
Well, just like Jeff and Brianna, we interviewed them in the first segment of the show, and they had a 3-year plan to save money, and that's exactly what they did. They kept their outside debt down. They saved a whole pile of money, and throughout that 3 years, kept in touch with the Angela Calla mortgage team. Here's where we're at. Here's where we at. And when it finally came time that they had enough money in the bank, they pulled that trigger and bought their first home, thanks in part to the Angela Calla mortgage team. There is no fee for Angela's service, so we encourage you to get a hold of her today, angelacalla.ca. You have been listening to The Mortgage Show on CKNW. Manny Bazunas, along with accredited mortgage professional and best-selling author of The Mortgage Code, available on Amazon. We shall see you next time.